Clarissa Chun's team as it's developed, her coaching staff as they've signed, and this is a story that we've been following very closely with her help. And the next to sign is Esther Han. She signed an NLI with the University of Iowa women's wrestling team. Clarissa Chun made that announcement, the 12th ranked wrestler nationally at 132 pounds. She joins us now. Good morning, Esther. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you. Please call me Scott. Now, you are at work, right? And your boss has said, doing interviews, you're some kind of a rock star. Yeah, of course you can have 10, 15 minutes off. What is it you're doing? What do you do for work?
I'm right now doing an internship at Yoon Dermatology. Yeah, I'm helping with skin cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a first for the show, Akira. Mark the tape. Will you become a doctor eventually?
I want to go to PA school for now.
Okay.
But I'm into it. I really like the medical field so far, so it's a lot of fun.
And physician's assistant is PA school. My daughter-in-law is a PA. And
oh, really?
She loves it. Absolutely loves it.
Yes. Well, I want to be just like your daughter, I guess.
Oh, I will let her know that. She, of course, could not be Esther Han because she was never a wrestler. But, kid, you make 132 pounds look easy for everybody.
The weight cuts are surely quite.
All right, so I asked Clarissa and about you. She said that you're hardworking. You always ask questions with which to improve your development, and she strives to be always to be better. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but where does that come from, and when did it start for you?
Well, I mean, starting when I was young, I did judo and other martial arts. Mm-hmm. My dad taught me, so I think my whole life, I just worked hard. I mean, my dad came from Korea and stuff, and he got a scholarship to come teach here and train here and stuff like that. So, life isn't easy, and you got to work hard to achieve what you want. It's just part of life, you know?
Is judo in Korea as big as I think it is?
It used to be really big. I think it's still big. I haven't been there in a while. I don't know for sure, but it was quite big. Uh-huh.
General Yu, retired General Yu, who came to us from South Korea, became the general of the United States Marine Corps. Okay, he was in charge of Marine. Awesome. He was in charge of Marine Corps recruiting station in San Diego, and he was our host for 2 weeks as I attempted to learn what it was like to go through the Marine Corps recruiting. And the induction, okay? And he was very kind, and more than anything, he just wanted to talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
And it seems that wrestling in Korea is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wish it was more of a big deal, especially in women's wrestling, but
perhaps is that the greatest challenge that we face, is making sure that wrestling, women's wrestling in particular, grows around the world as it is right now in the United States?
Yeah, I wish women's wrestling would grow even more. It's such a great sport. You learn a lot mentally and physically, and it's just so good for you in many ways.
Mm-hmm. And in Carbondale, Illinois, that's your hometown, right?
Yeah, that's my hometown.
All right. You won 2 state championships in Missouri before winning a 3rd in Utah for Mountain View High School. Where are you today?
Huh?
Where are you physically today?
I am in Missouri right now.
In Missouri, okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously, when we started this program 30-some years ago, there were only a couple colleges in the United States that had women's wrestling. Now we're adding, specifically with enrollment-driven schools, we're adding a women's program almost every other day at this point. There seems to be a snowball effect of what's going on in women's wrestling. Do you feel that excitement?
Yes, it's growing real fast, and it's amazing. It's awesome. I'm so glad that more people are entering the sport, and Oh, it's just awesome to see women's wrestling grow so much.
But here's the good part. We're seeing it grow, but we're also seeing the level of competition. In other words, the competitors are that much better than, nothing against Sarah McMahon or Goldie or any of the others. All the ones that what we call the pioneers or the trailblazers for women's wrestling.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing athletes like you who come into it with a judo background. Let's face it, there's a whole lot of technique there. But that can be shared, and you're sharing it with others just by, it's that common bond, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, now, I want to ask you this question because while we know that you're challenging yourself athletically, it seems that you're also challenging yourself academically.
Yeah, I am.
Why is that important?
Well, first of all, I feel like academics is really important. Even if you're really good at sports or so wise, it's good to have a good basic or good background in academics because it just sets you up for life too. You never know what happens, and plus I feel like for my personality, what I'm doing right now just fits perfectly to it. Academics, it helps, it leads you, especially around, let's say, our society, being able to do stuff academically and, athletically is really good. But it's also tough, but, it'll lead you somewhere for sure.
Now, the name Esther Han, obviously a very popular name, much like a Smith or a Brown here in the United States, at least for the Pacific Rim and the Asian countries, including Korea. This is the Esther part. Where does that come from? Because it's one of my favorite names.
Yeah, it came from the Bible. My family is a Christian family, and my parents named me after Queen Esther. Yeah.
Ah, there it is. And see, you're not afraid to talk about that. I love that.
No, I'm not. It means a lot to me.
Well, and I'm grateful for that. I think it does for Coach Chun as well. I know it does for Coach Gary and the rest, but this is a very interesting time. You've obviously visited Iowa City, right?
Yes, I did.
What was that like for you?
It was quite interesting. I really loved it. It was a lot different than I thought. But I'm excited for our new facilities for sure. And it's a really quiet but nice town when I was there. Everybody I met was friendly, and so.
Well, you were there when school was not in session, though.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very quiet.
Very quiet. A lot of people think that, 70% when school's out, 70% of the population goes home.
Yeah.
All the retailers and restaurant people are going, oh, where's all my help, number one, and where are all my customers? And then the students come back, and oh, boy. I did 3 years at the University of Iowa. My greatest acclaim, of course, was being one of the Herkies. So I was a mascot for the University of Iowa, where I fell in love with wrestling, and that becomes, what we do today is because of my experiences there. But walking into Carver Hawkeye Arena, had you been there prior?
Yes, it was a really cool feeling. I got the chills while walking in there. It's big. You could just imagine yourself in the middle of the stage, basically, like the arena. And just imagining myself wrestling in front of everyone and all those seats just cheering for you. It's just it gives me the jitters.
I remember I was in a tuxedo standing in the middle of the mat, and I had a piece in my ear. NBC was telling me I needed to fill 5 minutes in front of 17,000 plus fans. And I had 5 minutes to fill. I had a body mic on, so nothing in my hands. And I stood in the middle of the raised platform looking at the amassed wrestling fans. And there I knew in the crowd was a guy named Bill Smith. And Bill Smith was a 1932 Olympic champion winning his Olympic gold in Helsinki. But he came to us out of Fort Dodge, Iowa. And when he came home, there was no fanfare for this Olympic gold medalist, this champion. There's no fanfare. It barely made the papers. But in fact, this was my opportunity to recognize him. And that wrestling crowd, you know how fanatical wrestling people are.
Yes, the crowd is amazing.
So when I introduced him and I asked people to give him a round of applause, he stood up. He was in section 17, the second row from the top, sitting next to Mike Chapman. And I asked him to stand up. And let me tell you something. That house that Gable built came alive and was able to stand as one and filled the 5 minutes with a stunning round of applause for the greatness that was this little old man, this exceedingly strong farm kid from Fort Dodge, who with $3.62 in his pocket climbed on a steamer and went to Helsinki, Finland to represent his United States of America. That's what is a singular opportunity and singular greatness that faces you. I mean, you mentioned the chills, right, of walking into that, because it is a home where wrestling has reigned supreme. Oh, and basketball gets to play there, too. But the important thing is wrestling's home. And I'm grateful that you had that experience. How important was that to your decision to sign with Clarissa Chun?
Oh, it was a big decision. I mean, it was one of my hardest decisions for sure, but I am so glad I signed. I mean, even if you, like, the environment there, like, when I stayed there for nationals and stuff, the hotels had, like, posters of wrestling in them, and I thought that was, like, the coolest thing ever. Like, literally, every single hotel room had a somewhat wrestling poster in them.
That's so sad, isn't it? Just sad. No, I think it's terrific. Absolutely. I noticed that too. But it doesn't hurt that a lot of the wrestlers are now hotel owners in Corville, for example. A lot of those hotels are owned by former wrestlers, former Hawkeyes.
Yeah, no wonder why. But I love that.
Who did you look up to in terms of great women wrestlers that have, pioneers, if you will, or even most recent, like Adeline Gray or Tamira Mensah-Stock or whoever?
Oh, yeah, I love Tamara. Yeah, she's awesome. But I also knew Allie Reagan personally.
Yes.
Too. And she was from Carbondale, Illinois, too. And, yeah, so I really got influenced by her and her dad. And so they kind of got me into wrestling in ways.
That's so cool. And this team that you have now become a part of with Welker and Valencia and Taylor and Schmidt and Muir or Mendy, and the list goes on. You're right in the midst. Yeah. You're right in the midst. Do you know a lot of these girls, having been on competitive teams prior to?
Do I know them?
Yeah. Do you know many of them?
Yeah. I've actually wrestled a few of them. They've been in because I jumped around weight classes. I wrestled in 144. I wrestled at 138 and 132. So I wrestled quite some of them, and it's quite amazing. They're all real good wrestlers. So I'm like literally speechless. Like, this team is so, like, it's crazy.
Here's the good part about this 2022 season and signing class, I should say. This is the first Division I Power 5 school to add women's wrestling. I know that whoever is the next is going to be severely hindered, because it seems like Clarissa Chun is signing the level best of the best, and you guys are going to be like a touring roadshow, a carnival, if you will, of greatness that'll be ascending on major tournaments, not just here in the States, but around the world on behalf of the University of Iowa. This is going to be such an interesting thing to actually watch it hit. Yeah. I can't imagine anybody challenging or defeating the University of Iowa for many years to come.
It's going to be a tough one for sure. Our team, I can't wait to stay and wrestle and be part of this team.
And we can't wait to watch the kid. Hey, I want to thank you and thank your boss, too, for allowing you the opportunity to join us on the program today. I'm not sure How many more girls can she sign? I think there's room for another 30 or 40 girls. I think so.
It's going to get bigger for sure over the years.
Esther Han has been our guest on the Defense Soap Newsmaker Hotline. Esther, congratulations. We'll see you in Iowa City and on the mat in Anytown, USA. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I hope you had fun, kid. I did.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Esther Han, back to work for that young lady. She's out of Carbondale, Illinois, now working and living in Missouri, but she'll be making that move here in just a few short weeks to the campus of the University of Iowa and coach Clarissa Chun. New facilities under development there in Iowa City, too, which will give Coach Chun and staff a wonderful place to call home. All right, coming up next hour, Joel Adams, Rick Solofsky, and Brooks Reynolds. This portion of Battleskins USA Takedown brought to you by the Down Under Sports Bar and Grill and Absolute Martial Arts of Fitness and our friends at Barbarian. Stay tuned. Hour number 2 is coming up next.